Happy New Year! Welcome to Kidding Around. I'm Dr. Candice, and thank you so much for listening. Today, my special guest is Miss Kimberly Stewart. Welcome, Kimberly. Thanks for coming to Kid Around with me.
Thank you for having me. This is exciting.
Awesome. Miss Stewart is a financial advisor with the owner, the CEO, president of KRS Wealth Management. And she is going to help us talk about our finances, get financially fit and more responsible with our money, families, and the kids, of course, because I'm all about the kids, right?
The kids. We love the kids.
Awesome. That's right. That's right. So, with New Year's, everybody makes resolutions, right? Everybody makes resolutions. People quit smoking, they cut down on their drinking, they hit the gym, they do all of these things. But we want you to remember to add in your finances into your resolutions. And especially starting to raise up our children with making money moves in a proper way. So that, you're helping them out for the future. We think about making sure they're healthy. We think about raising them up with manners, all these wonderful things. But then they know nothing about money.
No. And the ironic thing is children learn about money from what we do.
Absolutely.
They're watching constantly. It's like it's funny, we're taping a show, but it's like having a tape on you constantly. So if your child sees you constantly stressed and struggling with money or always charging things or being, shopping excessively, your child is more than likely going to repeat those same habits.
Right. It's not do as I say, not as I do. They're going to copy exactly what you do. So let's get into the question. So I'm medical. I'm a pediatrician. We often talk about medicine from the standpoint of health disparities, how things are unequal with different groups of people. And there are social determinants, things that go on in our lives that affect our health. I imagine in money, that's the same way. There are to be financially healthy, there are some things there. Talk to us a little bit about those social determinants of wealth, if you will.
There's this book that I am reading. It's called The Hidden Cost of Being African American. And what it talks about are those very social disparities, whether it's not seeing your parents own a home. We repeat those things, whether it's not seeing your parents, invest in retirement plans or talk about retirements. So those social disparities do translate to our children, and unfortunately our children tend to recreate or repeat those things. And so they do truly exist. If you grow up in an area where you don't see many business owners, you don't see many entrepreneurs, well then most of our children don't think that that's a viable career option for them. And so when we talk about social disparities, it isn't just cultural, it affects every part of our life, from cultural, financial, all the way down the line. So those are some of the things we have to be more cognizant about. And to be quite frank with you, we have to expose our children to different experiences so that they can see being a dentist is possible, being a financial advisor is possible. Those things. And so that's where we've got to do a better job.
Yeah. Exposure is key. So mention that book again, because everybody should pick that up for the new year.
I didn't write it, so I'm going to give it, but it is a great book. I'm joking.
Awesome.
It's called The Hidden Cost of Being an African American. It is a truly life-changing book, and it has been for me because it has brought to light some of the things that I need to understand, first of all, as being an African American, but also as an African American in a predominantly white business, being able to translate that to my clients, and then also help my non-minority clients understand the differences. I think one of the biggest things that we must do is open up those dialogues.
That's right.
Yes.
That's right. Help everyone, right? Meet them where they are. That's right. Absolutely. So do you advise, I'm sure you do, but I have to ask anyway, do you advise that everyone have some form of financial advisement, a planner, advisor, and then to add to that, a lot of people may say, I can't afford that, or that costs money. How do they make that happen, or what are some other ways?
I tell people all the time, and I may be a little bit biased, because guess what? I am a financial advisor. But if you have money, you need a financial advisor. Or let me rephrase that. If you have money and that's not what you do, you need a financial advisor. I'll give you a perfect example. What if I decided to get a pick and started, doing all the stuff and drilling and putting in my fillings and things of that nature? My teeth
not a good idea.
Not a good idea. Right. And so there are some things in life you must go to professionals for, you must pay for. A financial advisor, remember, we make decisions about money almost every minute of the day. you can either choose to make those decisions with some assistance and based on knowledge, or you can choose to make them by yourself and make them out of ignorance.
Right.
No, we all need a financial advisor. And you don't have to, most of us would love for you to have a pot of money when you come in the office. But in case you don't, start where you are, whether that's $50 a month, $100 a month, start somewhere, but make sure you get some advice on getting a financial plan. One of the best analogies that I use or I tell people is when you're using GPS systems, you have to put in a destination.
Right.
But that car also has to know where you're starting from. And if you're not able to do that yourself with your finances, then yes, you need someone to help you along that route.
And even if you think you can, you might want to check.
Even if you think you can, you still, yes, you need a financial advisor, yes.
Absolutely. And so people shouldn't be embarrassed if they come in and say, I only can spare $50 or $100. I'm glad you said that.
How do you
start somewhere?
How do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time.
Ooh, wow.
You start with your 50 this year. Maybe next year it's 75, and maybe the year after that it's 100. And before you know it, through the power of compounding, you've created a pretty decent nest egg. Now, I'm not going to be, I'm not going to mislead you. You're not going to retire and go to Bora Bora with $50 a month.
Right.
But it is a start. And the key is to start.
That's right. Now, are there any, I've heard of local empowerment organizations that help people with advice, maybe pro bono. So that exists, so you can seek that out.
That exists,
Okay.
and there's a lot. We are in a blessed age. The internet is full of resources. It is, and so there are a lot of do-it-yourself firms out there where you can take a look and try to get started. But I do want to say there are some things that you really need professional help and that are worth paying for.
Okay. Awesome. So, just like we teach our kids to be healthy, brush your teeth, eat the right foods, fruits and vegetables, all that good stuff, what are some of those tips that we need to start teaching our kids early to make money, to deal with their money properly and be financially responsible and literate with money, basically?
First thing is the literacy part. I still tease my mother to this day because I say to her, you never talk to me about money. And her answer to me is it would have been a short conversation. We didn't have any.
Wow.
But even still, you still need to start having those conversations with your children, getting them books, getting them banks and things of that nature. And so, for instance, as a child, when your child starts getting an allowance, talk to them about the various uses of money. For instance, you can spend it. That's what we all love to do. You can save it, you can donate it, you can invest it, things of that nature. You need to have that conversation. So if your child, say for instance, gets a $5 allowance, set aside money for them to save. Set aside money to donate, whether it's to church or a charity or something of that nature. And then start to teach them about investing. You can simply go in your kitchen and have a huge lesson about investing. Look at all the things in your kitchen, your cupboards, your pantry. There are a lot of opportunities to talk to your children there about investments. Most of the things we use, they issue stock. So talk to them about those things and have those conversations. But it's key. The key thing is to talk to them about saving. As a society, the stat says 73% of Americans can't come up with $1,000. That's awful.
Scary.
And it's scary. And if we take that to Black America, Candice, that's about 80 to 85% of the people can't come up with $1,000. So teach them the importance of saving. Teach them the importance of investing. And then that way you'll be raising a financially fit child.
That's right. Absolutely. How early would you start?
I would start as soon as they understand the concept of money. And our children these days, most
you think it grows on trees.
Yeah, they think it grows on trees, but more importantly, most of them can operate our phones better than we can.
That's right.
And so there are quite a few apps and quite a few ways that online that you can help them get engaged in money. But I'd say 5 or 6, if you're giving them $1, all right, Johnny, here's $1. We're going to give you 4 quarters. This other quarter we're going to drop in the bank. This other quarter you're going to put in church on Sunday. And then this 50 cent you can do something. You can spend, you can buy candy, you can buy chips or whatever it is, a toy. But if you teach them that way, the Bible says if you train up a child, he or she will not depart from that. So we can start it as soon as they have the concept of money.
And that's sort of like a little budget. You teach them to give. And you teach them how much they can spend. You teach them what percentage they need to save. So those are very good principles that they can take with them in life. Absolutely. And then I also like allowance, I'm okay with, but I think they should earn it. You know,
I agree with that.
allowance is a range. You can earn up to by,
That's a great concept.
grades or chores or whatever. And that's a great token praise reward system for kids as well.
It is, and then the important thing on that too is once you start or they start accumulating money, then take them into a bank.
I like
Show
that.
them what a savings account is. Explain to them what a checking account and the importance of it. I'm often amazed at the number of check cashing places that exist.
Stay away.
Because why do you need to go
Yeah.
cash your check at Publix or somewhere and pay them 2 or 3% when
Right.
you can just
Losing money.
deposit it into the bank? But it's because we have not
Yes.
been taught those skills. And so once you get that initial money lesson, then take it a little further, take
Yeah.
them into the bank, then talk to them about credit cards, because credit cards
That's
are
right.
a huge trap for our youth.
That's right.
They are. So
Got me in college. As soon as I hit college, oh boy.
yes.
It took me a while to
so
recover
glad
from that.
It took us all a while
Yeah.
because guess what?
Yeah.
They were lined up in the student union. You got a free T-shirt. You got a cup or
Right.
something. So we all signed up for
That's
them.
right.
And I'm so glad that the legislation on that has changed, that they are
Okay.
no longer allowed to do that. But if you teach them early, your child won't be tempted by those things.
Right. And another thing, I know kids get a lot of money now. When their grandparents ask, "What do you want?" "Give me the money, I'll buy what I want."
Yes.
That's a common thing. I mean, my son will get $100 bill or something.
Yes.
And so that's what we've done. We've
Yes.
opened him an account, and he takes those big bills to the bank.
Right.
And he forgets about them. I'm so
Right.
glad. He
But
forgets
now
about
he
them.
expects
That's right.
to take them to the bank.
That's right.
And that's part of the process.
That's right. That's awesome. If it's away from you, you may not spend it, right?
Right.
Awesome. So those are some wonderful tips. That's the bang of this conversation. Absolutely. With the new year coming up, this is our last question. Tell us the most important thing that a family should do in order to be more financially fit. Starting from the head, the
From
parents.
the first thing you need to do is do a financial inventory. Assess where you are. And I tell people denial is not a river in Egypt.
Right.
You cannot bury your head in the sand. It will just not disappear. You cannot assume the ostrich position, as I call it. Do a financial assessment. Take a look at your assets, bank accounts, retirement accounts, cash value and life insurance policies, things of
Right.
that nature. Then also take a really good hard look at your liabilities, credit cards, debts, and things of that nature, and determine where you are.
Where you are.
Once you've determined where you are, then we can figure out where you want to go. And then what the important part is, and that is, how do we get there? What route do we take to get there? Do you need to save XYZ dollars a month to get to this point? So the
Right.
most important step is taking a financial inventory.
Okay.
Take a hard look. Open that junk drawer
Yes.
that you throw everything in. Pull everything out and
So
start.
overwhelming, right?
And start there. But
Yeah.
that's the key,
Yeah.
Candice, because
Yeah.
it is overwhelming.
Yeah.
That's where you need professional help. I had one client brought me a bag
bring it all into
and
you.
just dumped it on my desk and said, "Kimberly, here it is. Tell me how much it's going to cost," and he left.
Right.
And you don't have to do it to that extent, but prepare a spreadsheet, get some things together, and assess where you are. Cash flow is the foundation of financial planning.
Right, right.
So we have to know where you are. Look at a budget. People
Budget,
think
budget.
is like diet. No, I call it a budget is a plan for your spending. And so
And if you fail to plan.
if you fail to plan, you plan to fail.
That's right.
And so start there.
Right.
Those are great places to start. Do the
Absolutely.
financial inventory and then start a budget. Get yourself on a budget.
And get an advisor. Get someone to help you
Yes.
along that path.
Yes.
Absolutely. So you have already given us wonderful resources. Are there any websites, other books? How can we find you?
Come to my website. My website is www.krswm.com. I publish quite a few articles, calculators, things on there to help you get started. You're more than welcome to email me. It's Kimberly@krswm.com. And my phone number is 407-425-9101 if you want to reach out and call me.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Kimberly.
you.
Miss Kimberly Stewart.
Thank you.
Thank you. And definitely, guys, this is what you need to be working on this new year. Get your finances in order. Teach your kids some of those beginning principles so that they are responsible with their money as they grow into teens, adolescents, and adults.
Yes.
Thank you so much for listening, and we'll talk soon.